This beach volleyball tutorial will most probably be the best and most impactful beach volleyball tutorial in your life. Isn't that a ridiculously big claim? Sometimes you gotta have big goals, and that's what I have for this video. I'm gonna share in this video some thoughts that have led me to, in 5 years, get from a guy with basically no ball sports experience to a quite high level player in this sport, as well as a coach that continually gets to hear that he talks about things at a way deeper and better level than pretty much all other coaches, including past Olympians and pros like that. My goal with this video is basically that the day that you end your beach volleyball career, whether that's in 5, 10 or 20 years or whatever, and someone walked up to you and asked, what is the most impactful, the most important single piece of advice you got throughout your beach volleyball career that got you into where you got? My goal with this video is that you will say, this video was the thing. This video might not be the shortest thing out there, but if you're truly interested in learning beach volleyball fast, this time that you're gonna spend on watching this video will pay back so many times. You might save years because of the 20-30 minutes that this video is gonna be. I'm Alex from LearnBeachVolleyballFast.com, and this is the Beach Volleyball Career Accelerator. Welcome. Okay, let's get into business. So, learn beach volleyball fast. We're gonna learn a skill here quickly. What does that actually mean? It's basically, in the most foundational form, it's like a trade. It's from time to skills. We're basically trying to trade time towards skills as efficiently as possible. So basically in this video, I'm just gonna explain how to trade time to skills more efficiently. But before we get into that, I need to explain a little concept about currencies. So basically, if one gold coin is worth 2 silver coins, that's a trade. We can basically go to a guy on the street and give him a gold coin and we get 2 silver coins back. We could go to the same guy and give him 2 silver coins and get 1 gold coin back. That's just a back and forth trade, basically. And these are both currencies. Now, is a banana a currency? Maybe not in the traditional sense if we look in the dictionary, but in a way we could argue that we can trade bananas too. We might be able to trade a gold coin towards a banana if we find the right guy to deal with on the street. Now, what would happen if we were actually able to find one guy that would trade 1 gold coin to a banana, but another guy that would trade 1 banana to 4 silver coins? Something like that. Now, if that was the case, we could take these 4 silver coins and go to the first guy and trade these 4 silver coins into 2 gold coins, and then we could go again and trade those to 2 bananas, etc, 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 and we would have hacked the system. And this is basically what traders try to do, in a sense. So the thing here is that most people just simply trade time for skills, unleveraged. But as we saw here in this example, if we have some sort of banana solution, some sort of weird solution in the middle, all of a sudden there can be something in between here, between the time and skills happening, that just absolutely makes the ratios totally different and might almost feel like we're cheating our way forward in life. And that's basically what we're gonna learn to do in this video. So let's clear out some stuff here. So if we allow ourselves to think about currencies in a little bit of an outside of the box way of thinking, what are the currencies that could go into learning beach volleyball faster? Okay, so here are some currencies that at least I can think of. There's probably more of them, but at least we have something to play around with here. We have a quite interesting playing field. We have time, we have energy, we have money, we have happiness and personality. I'll explain those a little bit more later. Relationships, then we have knowledge, which can be hacks, and it can also be potential skills. And then in the end, we have actual skills. So these two, potential and actual skills, are volleyball skills in this case. Basically, potential skills is like when you know how something is done, but you haven't yet practiced it. And actual skills is when it's actually something that your body and you are able to do. So this is knowing how to pass. This is actually being able to pass. So if the basic thing that we're trying to do is trade time for actual skills, which is something like this, we basically have we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different other currencies that we can have in between this trade and basically make unlimited amounts of combinations to make this time transfer into actual skills more efficiently. Okay, so I think the best thing I can do here is just start giving you examples of how this basically works. So let's say that you're a new person, you walk into, or you move into a new city and you join the Beach Volleyball club there. And they have some sort of arrangement for training groups. So basically what you do is you pay a little bit of money and obviously spend time and energy to go there. Basically you're trading that to join the training groups, and that leads to knowledge, potential skills, and some actual skills. But what ends up happening is that the training group you happen to join, the spirit in the group is just not high. There's a lot of conflict. People don't really like each other. People complain about each other's sets, whatever it might be. There's just general drama in this place. So your time, energy, and money trade for actual skills actually suffers a lot. Well, one thing that you could do, basically I'm going to share a little bit of knowledge here. There's one thing that I heard that I really liked, which was what would happen if every person that joins a training, before they join the training, they ask themselves, what can I do today to make this training as good as possible for everyone? So if you would actually start doing that in this case, and you would maybe even get your peers, the other ones that you're training with, to do this, what would this actually lead to? Well, this is a piece of knowledge that basically leads to, if everyone comes to the training with this good spirit, basically everyone's going to be a little bit happier. That might lead to everyone having a little bit more energy. That might actually lead to relationships, better relationships in the group, which could lead to a lot of things down the road, which basically means that everyone's time and money becomes more potential and actual skills. Okay, another example that is pretty close to my heart is this one. So basically we know that relationships within a beach volleyball culture can give a lot. We can become friends with better players, we can become friends with coaches that will help us, etc., 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 etc. Actual skills here is also a currency. So sometimes people think, which one should I get good at first? Should I get good at first at passing, setting, or hitting? And my answer to that is, well, it's a simplified answer, but my answer is setting. Because the thing is that sooner or later you're going to want to learn to attack, but it's a big problem to learn to attack if you don't have anyone that can set you well. So in a way, if we actual skills, if we put this here, setting and hitting, basically we need to first create a circumstance where we are able to learn to hit. So therefore, I would actually take time and energy into training, finding potential skills about setting, and then actually transferring those to actual skills with more time and energy. And those actual skills can actually give you relationships with better players in your community that you can then go and practice with. The thing is that beach volleyball is a sport where skill matters a lot for playing games with people, because then the skill, you sort of want it to be equal so that it's fun for everyone. But for practicing, there's a lot of people that actually understand that the skill doesn't matter as much. It might be much more about personality and wishing to practice and having the energy and time to practice rather than actual skills that matters. But sometimes the skills matter, especially setting, if someone's going to learn to hit. So By spending time and energy into learning to set, you might be able to start practicing with players that are a higher level than you in actual games, but just because you can set them well, you guys can set both back and forth to each other, and then this can actually give you an easier time to learn to hit than someone who didn't do what you just did. Okay, another example. Let's say that there is no beach volleyball, there's no coaches around where you live, but you still want to learn beach volleyball. So basically you have a trouble finding information about potential skills of how things are actually done. Well, I'm going to give you a hack here, basically. Now, recognize that right now you're trading time, and I'm giving you some of these things here. So right now, I'm going to take some of your time to share a hack with you about how to get potential skills easier. There's podcasts. Podcasts you can listen to while you do other things, mundane things. Let's say you're cooking, or you're eating dinner, or you're taking a shower, you're commuting, you're going to volleyball practice, whatever you might be doing. You can actually listen to recordings where people talk about volleyball, about potential skills, while basically you're doing something else. So it actually doesn't take any time, in a sense, for you to just gain potential skills. Okay, it takes a little bit of time first to find the podcasts, to set up the podcast app in your phone, etc., etc. But once that's done, basically, and you get used to just listening to podcasts while you go to places, you have basically built a system where you're just getting more and more potential skills every day for free. And over time, you'll have better and better quality potential skills that you can then train into actual skills. And this is one of the reasons why Learn Beach Volleyball Fast will become not only a YouTube channel, but also a podcast. Of course, the YouTube videos you can also watch, for example, while you're eating dinner or something, but it doesn't have as good of a on-the-go type of usage as podcasts, because podcasts you can literally just commute and listen to. You don't necessarily want to drive your car and watch a YouTube video at the same time. That could lead into some bad things. But listening to podcasts is fine. Another example, which is pretty much how I train nowadays. So as I said earlier, the example with the volleyball club, some people spend time, energy, and money to sign up to some classes, volleyball classes, and they join a training group, and then they go and practice and get potential and actual skills. I found that to be a very inefficient way to use my money and time and energy, at least in the time when I really want to learn skills, the actual skills of volleyball. With that, I mean retraining my spiking technique or retraining my setting technique rather than the actual application in games. So what I started doing instead of joining these group practices, I basically took my time, energy, and money into having one-on-one coaching sessions with coaches that I really believed could teach me something. And I was basically only looking for potential skills. I really had deep discussions. We would film me, we would analyze videos of me together, and we would look at it, we would discuss it, I would tell my thoughts, I would bounce back and forth ideas, etc., etc., etc. And my only goal was to get potential skills. Because earlier in my career, I had put a lot of time and energy into learning how to make the actual to potential skills transfer, there's a transfer in between there, as efficient as possible. So I actually trust myself more in terms of taking something from how I know it should be done to actually getting it to me being able to do it. I trust myself much more in that transfer than pretty much every coach out there. So I actually didn't want these coaches to help me with this part. I literally only wanted the knowledge, the potential skills, and then I told them I'll handle this part for myself. I just want knowledge. I'll make it into actual skills later on my own. And once I started doing that, I just found out I got so much more for my time, energy, and money. I got so much more actual skills for my time, energy, and money that I haven't really looked back ever since. Now, to be fair, there might come a time in the future of my volleyball career where it will make sense again to do group practices, but this is at least something that I think a lot of players never think of, and a lot of players would have huge benefits of thinking about. Okay, I hope you start seeing the idea here. Basically, this is a playing field and there's no rules. You're allowed to do whatever trades you want to get as much actual skills as possible for the time you have. So I have some more examples that I'm going to do, but before we jump into those, I'm just going to give the most ridiculous example ever, just so you can understand, just so you start thinking bigger. That's basically what I want you to start doing here. I want you to think more outside of the box about the insane possibilities that there are. Okay, so let's get started. And this is, I've never heard anyone do this, but this is just an example. So you could put time into making sure that every time you go to the volleyball court, you're happy. So you do something that makes you happy before you even walk onto the court. Every single time you go there, whether that's listening to the right music on the way to practice, or having made sure that you have eaten before you go there, or whatever. Well, this is actually gonna make people think you might have a different personality. No, let's jump over personality. Let's go back to that later. Okay, so just because you're so happy every time you go there, this might actually build relationships within the beach volleyball community faster, just because people like you more, basically. And these relationships might lead to it might actually lead to jobs within the beach volleyball community. So all of a sudden you're making money because of everything that happened before. Now you have a job where you work with beach volleyball, and now actually this job doesn't only give you money, it also gives you knowledge and potential skills, because you happen to work with a coach, let's say, that shares a lot of ideas with you when he's bored at work, because why not? So now you're making money and potential skills and everything. And this whole arrangement here, once you start realizing how awesome this is, this might energize you a lot. You might start thinking that life is really cool. How did I just make, just this happiness trick led to all of this? And, you just get stoked about life, so you get more energized. And this, of course, means that in the future, when you go to work and play volleyball and whatever, you basically are more energized and even more happier than before. And that in itself might lead to one day you sit after practice and talk with a guy, and that guy shares some hacks. Basically shares some hacks about how to transfer potential skills to actual skills quicker. And also talks about how this actually needs maybe some personality traits that a lot of people don't have, but actually also shares how those personality most people think cannot be changed. That's not really the case. Personality is kind of just a continual skill, just like any other skill. So this guy here actually shares how to change your personality into that person that is just more able to get potential skills into actual skills. And now these actual skills that you start having, they lead into new relationships, they lead into more money, more time, etc., etc. I hope you start seeing the picture here. I'm going a little bit overboard. But somewhere here, all of a sudden you might get a better job, so you make the same money with the same time you make more money than before with the same time as you did before. So in a way now you're even saving time, and that time that you're saving you can reinvest into finding knowledge about even more hacks about how to hack all of this, etc., 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 etc. And all of a sudden we have just become major hackers about how to get time into actual skills. Okay, so a few more kind of more normal examples here. Some people have knowledge from before or other parts of their life. For example, I know I know a guy that is a physiotherapist, and basically what he did was he started helping people within the beach volleyball club that I was a part of with basically their injuries. So he used other knowledge that he had into building relationships that led people to coach and help him, so that all of a sudden he was leveraging his knowledge into actually becoming a better beach volleyball player, as well as building relationships that can lead to a lot of these other things in the future. That story in itself led me to think, well, hey, can I use that but the other way when I needed a physiotherapist? So I actually found a physiotherapist to gain physiotherapist knowledge about my injury so that I could heal faster. And I basically traded while coaching towards that. So I haven't done exactly what he did, but I have done the reverse of that. And basically the reason I was able to come up with that idea was that I know him and I saw him do his idea at first. Hey, Alex here. I just remembered I just finished recording the video, but I came up with another example that I should have in the video, so I'm gonna edit this back into there. Basically, regarding personality, that's one of the most weird out of those currencies. Creating a personality where you have a long attention span so that you can actually view long videos, read books, and actually take in in-depth information might be one of the most valuable personality traits. Literally, there's a lot of stuff and content on my channel here that can be really absolutely game-changing. But the problem with a lot of players is that they will never get it because they see that a video is too long or an explanation is too long or whatever. It's the same in practices when I coach. Sometimes I end up in conversations with people that are really, really, really interested, and we get into these conversations about some techniques, passing or whatever, and they get a lot of value out of it. But then you see that some other people in the group, they don't have the attention span. They just are not able to listen for longer than 10 seconds. So they zone out and they get bored and they hate the practice, etc., etc. And for me, of course, as a coach, I'm the manager of that. I should make sure that it's a good practice for everyone, no matter what personality you have. But creating this personality trait where you're able to be interested, able to listen to longer explanations, able to understand when this plus that becomes that, which is actually more valuable than those other parts. Basically, when a 1 + 1 becomes 3 type of thing. That almost never happens with short explanations, but when you're able to explain how that works and then that works, and when you combine those, boom, that happens. That's where a lot of the magic lies. Another thing that I should mention is that so people trade time and energy and money sometimes to get coaches, to get potential skills that leads to actual skills. Problem is that some coaches, their potential skills, what they teach, might not actually be super helpful. It might not actually be super true. And if that's the case, then we have a huge problem. One day in the future, I'm gonna make a podcast episode about how to basically detect coaches that are good to trust. So I guess in the future, you could spend some time, or no, you don't even need to spend time with the podcast hack. You can just listen to it on the go about some knowledge about how I think about how to spot good coaches so that you can be better in your choice of coaches later down the road. Because I think we can all agree that if we spend time, energy, and money into getting actual skills that are not actually good, well, that's a huge failure. We have in one way we have succeeded with getting time into actual skills, but if those actual skills are not good, well, then that's also not good. Okay, so this project here, Learn Beach Volleyball Fast. This project is created by me, and I have had this idea in my head basically since the start of everything. And what that means is that I'm designing everything within this project with this in mind. So whether it's a YouTube video of mine, whether it's someone getting coaching from me, or whether it's someone buying one of my courses, or anything else, I always have this in mind, and my goal is always to get your time that you're spending in some way into actual skills more efficiently than the alternatives. So for example, sometimes I literally have players that come to me and they have had put time and energy and money into having some well-known coach them for the longest of times, like several months or years or whatever. And in one session, for example, we talk about attacking. I'm literally finding the details about their attacking technique that the other coach hasn't pointed out in years for them. And they're like, oh, well, why did this other coach not drop this knowledge onto me? And as I have many answers to why that might be the case, we don't need to go into those right now. Basically, I'm trying to be the most valuable coach and project out there. Like the time you spend with this project is just going to send you over here, is my goal at least. I hope you see that this, I don't know how long this video is, but let's say it's 20 minutes. I hope you can see how this can really, really, really shave off years from your career. Oh yeah, one of the things that shaved off most years of my career was basically learning this transfer here. Really learning about how the body and the mind works in terms of getting skills from knowledge into actual skills as efficiently as possible. And once I started doing that, basically I started learning just way faster than all other players. So after that, it just became a hunt for the actual knowledge, because I can get stuff from here to here quite quickly. And I'm going to have a course on exactly all of this, all these hacks here, on how to transfer that as quickly as possible. So literally that has just shaved years off of my progress, and I'm gonna do the same for you as well. If you actually decide to take the time, whatever, it might be a few hours, the course might be a few hours, it will mostly be podcasts that you can listen to on the go, to get this knowledge on how to do this transfer as fast as possible. And those hours will just pay back in months and years. And once you really start thinking and coming up with your own examples of these types of trades, you can really create a reality for you which is completely different from what you have right now. And then all of a sudden this 20-minute video or whatever this will just be a huge return on investment for you. And here's a little kind of scary example, and one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this project. So I read Reid Priddy's book. Reid Priddy is basically an indoor Olympian for the USA who's trying to transition into, or he is transitioning into beach volleyball. And I read his book, and in his book he told about how hard it is to change technique. So he had his national team coach, and he was going to change his attacking technique while he was playing indoor, and he said it took him 9 months to change. And this is with the help of national team coaches. Well, according to me, this should take 2 to 3 weeks. And that's basically what it takes me to change a technique when I change it. As long as I have the potential skills, as long as I have the knowledge about how the skill should be done, for me to take it from the knowledge to actually being automated in my body, it takes 2 to 3 weeks, not 9 months. Obviously, I don't know the details. Maybe they had to figure out how he should do it, what fits his body, etc., etc. Like, I have just not enough information to say that the US national team coaches are not doing their job, and etc., etc. So I'm not going to claim anything like that, but this number here, 9 months, is literally so much more than 2 to 3 weeks that it makes me scared. And that's why, well, basically I'm creating this project. I think there is so much more potential for learning the sport, like how people learn the sport, that it's just insane. And if we have national team coaches in one of the biggest nations in the world having results that takes 9 months when it should take a few weeks, well, we gotta do something about this. So yeah, I guess in a way, everything that I've talked about here today is not necessarily always the most specific things that you can take today and put into action and lead to actual skills tomorrow. These are more the type of thoughts that once you start thinking about them and do them continually, they will just save you a bunch of time and energy down the road. Just imagine if Rid Pretty had, out of these months, taken 3 hours to talk to me in the beginning. He had put 3 hours of time and energy, and that could actually have saved him 8 months on his retraining his attacking technique. Wouldn't that be insane? And I've talked before that you could compare, how do you learn a skill? Do you spend 50 hours figuring out a skill and then, getting the actual skill? Or what if you could just go to work like 3 hours and pay for a coach 1 hour? So that's 4 hours total. And that 4 hours would actually lead to the same potential skills as trying to scout YouTube and read books and talk with people, etc., for 50 hours. What if that was the case? It would be so much more efficient to actually put your time and energy into going to your normal job to be able to pay a coach to get the potential knowledge and then transfer that to actual skills than to actually be practicing beach volleyball. That's a really tough one for people to get around, but sometimes it can be more efficient to just go and make money and then buy knowledge rather than go and try to find knowledge for free. And literally, this is all of this. And if I'm a coach that can produce this sort of effect, that's why one day I will just be fully booked. When people understand how much they save by hiring me, that's just when there will be no time accessible anymore, because I only have 24 hours in a day and I will only take so many clients. But we'll see what happens. Life is an interesting journey, and once I realized this whole big theory here, life definitely became an even more interesting journey. So I hope this video has helped you a lot. I hope this has given you some new ideas. I hope this has really gotten you to think differently and more outside of the box, and will do so even more in the future once you let this sink in and start thinking about this and come up with even more examples, etc. I might make more videos or podcast episodes with even more examples of how this idea can be used in the future if people want it, or we'll see. Basically, comment below if you come up with your own ideas, if you have seen someone do kind of this thing in a creative way, you have your own stories, etc. Just write them down in the comments below. It's fun to share, and it can help people a lot, and people might actually share back their stories inspired by your story, and then that could lead into a lot of these good things. Also, another thing with this video is that most probably, if you follow this advice, you will over time start thinking very, very, very differently from other players. And that can actually be a little bit frustrating if you have a lot of friends that don't understand how you think. Like, you think in a way more efficient way, but the people that you're hanging out with and practicing with and playing with, they don't understand you, and they will basically try to hinder you to go forward the way you want to go forward. So basically, as a moat against that, you should share this video to your friends that you want to go on this journey with you, if you really believe that this can help you and your friends a lot, because it's just more fun to have friends with you on a journey like this, where you start thinking differently about things. And also having a friend with you, or several friends, they will basically come up with ideas and examples for you, which will make all of this even more efficient for you. Cool, that was it for today. I hope that this is really giving you a lot of value. And if you like this and you want more from possibly the biggest beach volleyball nerd online, which is, at least according to myself, it is myself, well, you should subscribe to the YouTube channel, you should join my Facebook group, and you should also join my email newsletter. The email newsletter, people will have a lot of stuff that other people won't have with that can lead to a lot of this stuff. I will create courses. I will have one of my fundamental courses will be about this transfer, and a lot of my other courses will be about basically the potential skills of the hitting and passing and setting and different parts of beach volleyball. And yeah, as you know, the time, energy, and money you will put into those courses, if you get them, will just be out of control compared to other ways to get those potential and actual skills. So these are definitely the actions you should take if that sounds at all interesting to you, and maybe even most, the email newsletter. Okay, thanks. See you later.